To the Minister of Commerce, what is his response to the United Nations Special Rapporteur's report that criticises terminating people's internet access because it is a violation of human rights?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, it was an interesting read. The government does not have a response to the report because at no point that I could see does it mention New Zealand. That may be because New Zealand's law does not currently permit internet service providers to suspend or terminate internet access for repeated copyright infringement.
Gareth Hughes.
Mr. Speaker, given that the report talks about internet termination, which is on our law books currently in New Zealand, and given that the Copyright Infringing File Sharing Act violates the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which New Zealand is a signatory, will the Minister now heed the call of the Special Rapporteur for all states to repeal or amend existing copyright laws which permit users to be disconnected from internet access?
The Honourable Simon Power.
I'm not sure that I agree with the assertion in terms of the breach of the International Covenant the member refers to, but putting that to one side for a moment, I don't have any intention of revisiting an issue that's taken the best part of, well, maybe 3 years if you include the last government's attempt at it. No, I don't intend to look at it again at this point.
Gareth Hughes.
Speaker, to the Minister, given the United Nations Special Rapporteur's objection, can the Minister explain to the House how our copyright law is compliant with international human rights?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to give a legal opinion as to whether or not those particular international covenants are complied with in the way that the member seeks. But what I can say is that my reading of the Rapporteur's report indicated primarily that his concern was around termination. Now, I accept there were other matters in the report, but of course the legislation currently as it exists does not have those provisions in an operational state, although they remain on the books to be brought in by order in council if other matters contained in that legislation aren't fully utilised to the benefit of rights holders.
Gareth Hughes.
Mr. Speaker, to the Minister, on what basis would the Minister enact internet termination, a power he has under the order and can make under an order in council, with the law recently passed under urgency?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, as I've repeatedly made clear, the government will not bring the order in council into effect unless the notice process and remedies in the Copyright Tribunal are ineffective. Officials are keeping in close contact and will continue to keep in close contact with ISPs and rights holders to determine if a further deterrent is needed. But at this stage, the government has no intention of bringing that particular provision into operational.
Gareth Hughes.
To the Minister, will the Minister consider the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights as a criteria before deciding to enact internet termination?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Well, Mr. Speaker, what I can say is that my reading of the Rapporteur's report today was quite a wide interpretation, in my opinion, of the provisions relating to Article 19. I'm yet to be persuaded that the assertion in that report that because of that provision this is a human right is actually the case. So I'd have to say I would take some convincing is the answer to the member's question.
Gareth Hughes.
Is the Minister aware of recent research from Germany and Europe which shows that making content available online is more effective at combating internet piracy without infringing basic rights? And what is the Minister doing to encourage increasing content online?
The Honourable Simon
Mr.
Power.
Speaker, no.
Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. When will the Minister comply with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and remove or terminate internet termination from our law books, given it's disproportionate, there's no evidence it works, and it takes away a fundamental modern human right?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, I'm not persuaded that the assertion the member makes in terms of the applicability of Article 19 indeed carries the weight that he asserts.
Claire Curran.
Supplementary to the Minister. Given the findings of the United Nations Special Rapporteur and its criticism of 3 strikes copyright laws which can result in disconnection from the internet, will the Minister support a complete review of our intellectual property or copyright laws in New Zealand?
The Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, my reading of the report was that the 3 strikes provisions that the member refers to were done in the context of a description of the laws as they exist, I think from memory, in the UK and France, in the particular paragraph that was referred to. The last government in 2008 indicated a review of copyright legislation as it related to digital matters would go ahead in 2013 from memory. The government is continuing with that particular plan, and I expect copyright with respect to digital matters to be reviewed, as the member knows, when my office answered her query in 2013.
Point of order, Gareth Hughes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I seek leave of the House to table the report of the Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. Question number 11, Chris Hipkins.